Sarah Martin. SarahMartin. And I did not intend to be here today, but it is incredible to see all these people, and the Palestinians are going to know about this outpouring of people here and in Chicago and other places, and know that there's great support for them in this country, and I guess I'm thankful for that opportunity. What we got to experience was the tight grip of the Israeli occupation of Palestine, and their mostly, but less seen, success in keeping the word of what's going on in that country out of the media. When we came into the airport, went through passport control, and in retrospect, as we think about the expressions on their face and how quickly they sent us to the security room, they knew we were coming. They knew what they were looking for. They've been tipped off, or the it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's not amplified. It's okay. All right. So
can't you talk up?
We got into what?
We can't hear you.
Okay.
I'm sorry. We don't have amplification. Oh. Not amplified.
So we went into the security room and we were taken in for questioning. And at first it seemed like they were going to believe our story. So the truth is, you cannot, if you're going on a human rights delegation, which is what we are and were, you cannot tell that to Israel, or they'll throw you out summarily. But they knew we were a human rights delegation anyway, and we had a story about a half truth, or we told them half the truth, that we were there as tourists, tourism of a different kind, and that we would be in Israel, which is true. We were going to be in Jerusalem and certainly Tel Aviv. But we didn't tell them about the West Bank part. So we found something online, and we were busted. We'd been busted before we ever got there. And we went through a whole thing of being searched and having our luggage searched. And they extended this for 3 or 4 hours up until the time that the plane was leaving, so that we would be on that plane, which we were not. They called us, how did he say it? Or she said it? The main security guy was, well, the other reason that it took so long is by the time they told us this, that they were sorry to, they regretted to inform us that we weren't going to be allowed into Israel because we were security threats. And but that security office was already closed, so we had no right to test us at all at that time. We were not told of our rights, the right to have an appeal. We could do that. This is Friday night now, so we're going into the Sabbath and the weekend. So, and we were a security threat. As a matter of fact, to them we are, because they do not want the reality of Palestine knows the outside world. And that was our point, was to go there and talk with people and see life as it is and bring that word back. And so I suppose, from their point of view, it is a security threat. Then Katrina and I decided, no, we're not going that easily. We refused to get on the airplane. And when that happened, we were taken off. We mentioned all of this for the rest of that. A couple more comments here. We were also said we were denied entrance to Israel because we had lied, and because we were going to, I explained that. But the other thing is that we didn't tell them we were going into the Palestinian, into the West Bank of Palestine. And we didn't tell them about that part. Well, that's like we're taking a trip to Las Vegas, and we don't tell somebody that we're stopping in California. I mean, it's like that. It's ludicrous to be denied entrance for not telling the whole story. Couple more points here. The point of Israel is our foremost ally in the Mideast, obviously. And they're always purported to be the foremost democracy, right? Well, we were never told of our rights for appeal, that we could have a lawyer. And in fact, we were in contact with the American embassy, and she was I will say, well, she did. Yeah, she didn't divulge the truth. She did certainly pass messages from us to Jeff, and to John, but did not tell us the extent of the support here, or that anything was happening in Palestine, Israel, and that a lawyer would be. And she told us about the appeal, and she told me in the evening that she could tell by the fact that I was surprised that I didn't know that we should have been offered a form, but she didn't tell me that in the morning. She only told me that at, an hour before we were to leave. So they were not all that helpful, which I guess is not entirely. Anyway, one other irony. Of course, we were returned home, right? Against our will, which is sort of ironic in that probably one of the main demands of Palestinians is the right of return, to go back to those lands that were taken 60 years ago in 1948. That's enshrined in U.S. law and has been reaffirmed year after year after year, but it's never been implemented. And the U.S. and the UN have never enforced that. So instead of a right to return, more and more lands are being taken away and more houses are being bulldozed, and so it goes. Anyway, thank you all. This is not about us. I know this is not about us. It's about what happened and the opportunity to make a statement about what life is really like for Palestinians and how we experience it in a very small kind of way. So thank you.
We love you, Sarah. We love you.
Our next speaker is Katrina Plots. She's with the Anti-War Committee. Can you start off and spell your name for people, Katrina?
Sure. My name is Katrina Plots, Katrina, and my last name is Plotz. And I'm going to try hard to talk loud enough. And I don't really have anything prepared, so this is kind of difficult to do. But I'm just going to start out by emphasizing again that this is so wonderful to have the support of all these people. I was not expecting this when I got off the plane, but it makes me very happy to see all the support that we have. But it's a very mixed emotion because I'm also I'm very disappointed that we were refused entry to Israel, and I'm very outraged that happened, and by the way that we were treated at the airport and then in the jail, and the way that we were denied information about the support that we had back at home. And, like it's been mentioned, we were there as guests of Palestinians in the West Bank. This was an organized delegation where we were going to be meeting with people in order to hear about their lives and their struggles, so that we could bring their stories back to the United States, so that we could tell people about what the reality is about the Israeli occupation and what the U.S. role is in funding the aggression and the occupation of land and the confiscation of resources, and really just the total control of Palestinian lives that happens on a day-to-day basis. And we experience just a tiny portion of that, but it's nothing compared to what Palestinians face all the time. And I'm disappointed that we weren't able to meet with them, but I'm glad that we can at least use this experience to talk about the reality, at least, and how tight is the grip of Israeli control and just the ridiculous amount of security. But really it's aggression and it's control, and it's not democracy, and it's not fair, and it's wrong. And so I'm glad to be able to have taken a small stand against that. And just to kind of pick up where Sarah left off about what happened, we were told that we were lying about our real purpose for being there. The man who had questioned me called me back in, and he showed me on his computer screen the Anti-War Committee website where it describes the delegation. And he was yelling at me about that, and he took a book that I had when I went in there. It was a travel to Israel book. He took it away and he was pounding it on his counter, and he threw it on the floor, and he was yelling about, "Don't lie to me about what you're doing here." And I said, I'm not lying to you. We're here to visit all those places that I mentioned. And he was demanding to know who we're there to see and what we're really there to do. And I said, we're here to meet with people and talk to them. And I wouldn't give him any more information about that because I didn't want to endanger anyone else on the delegation or the people who were hosting it. But after that, our bags were completely searched. They took out everything, and there were about 15 security officers that searched through every single item that we had, and then they searched us individually, and one person was strip searched, or like partially, not either of us, but that happened to the other person that was with us. And then we were told that we were going to have to, after that whole process, we were told we were going to have to get on the plane. Sarah and I refused. We were taken to the jail, or I think it's like actually an immigration detention facility, along with another, a college student who was of Turkish descent, who was trying to visit the West Bank, and she was also denied entry. And she was kind enough to let us use her cell phone, because at this point they were denying us use of making any phone calls from the airport. They said our only option was just to get on the plane. So that's how we at least got our initial word to people that we were going to be, that we were probably going to be going to jail. So at the jail, they put us in separate rooms, and they wouldn't let us have anything in there. I asked if I could have a notebook and a pen, and they said no, they wouldn't let me have a book or a pen or paper or anything like that. We were there in the cell until the next morning, and they would only open the door to drop off some food, but they wouldn't. I kept asking if I could talk to Sarah. They wouldn't let me talk to her. I kept asking if I could make a phone call, and they said, "Who do you want to call?" And I said, "I want to call a friend back home, and I want to call my husband." And they said, "No." And they said, "You can't make any calls." And it was very frustrating, because repeatedly when we would try to ask for any information, they would not answer, or they would just start talking to each other in Hebrew, so we couldn't understand. I was feeling very frustrated and outraged about what was going on. I found I didn't have any pen or pencil or anything, but I had a pop top that I found in the room, and I started writing on the wall in there. I wrote "Free Palestine," and I wrote "Israel out of Palestine," and I wrote "Justice for Gaza," and I wrote "Right of Return," and it's all over the room, and it took them a long time to figure out that I was doing this. But they did. They came in and they saw, and they were asking me about it, and I said, "Well, yeah, you can read what it says." And I said, "I want to make a phone call now." And they said, "Oh, do you think if you write this that you're going to get a call?" And I said, "No, I would do this anyway. I've been doing this since last night because this is what I believe, and these are the reasons that I'm here. I'm here for political reasons, and because you don't want me to get to meet with the Palestinians because you don't want them to have any rights or any justice. And they were very upset about their walls. Even though there was a lot of other stuff written on there. It wasn't like I was the first one that had that idea. But they, it was kind of scary because like 5 of them came in and they told me to get down because I was sitting on the top of a bunk. And I said, no, I'm not going to come down until you say that I can have a phone call or talk to Sarah. And they wouldn't. They said, no, you're going to come down. And they started pulling me down. And I felt like I was going to fall on the floor, like head first. And so I said, no, okay, no, I will come down if you let go. So they did let go. They did come down. And they took away my pop top because I found it. And I figured out that's what I was doing. But then they took all the rest of my food and they turned off the lights in the room and this was in the evening and I knew it was getting close to the time that they were probably going to try to make me get on the plane, and I really wanted to at least talk to Sarah so we could figure out what we're going to do. Are we going to get on the plane or not? You know, because I was thinking maybe we should try and stay. But I didn't think there was anything that could be done to get us out. And there was another pop top that I had. They didn't know I had it, so I was finishing one of the things I was writing. And they came back in because they saw me doing that. And then they handcuffed me to the bed after that. And it was actually, I could get out of it. They didn't realize that I was going to be able to get out, but I didn't let them know that. I just sat there, kind of waiting. But then, you know, it was really dark. The only light was from I had a little window into the hallway, and then they taped a towel over the window so that I couldn't see what was happening in the hall, and I got really scared because I was afraid that they were going to take Sarah to the plane, but they were going to leave me there. And so I got out of it and I started banging on the doors again and saying I wanted to talk to her, and they wouldn't let me, and they wouldn't let me make a call. But finally they did say, you're going to go on the plane in 1 hour. And they came and got us, and they put us in separate cars so that we couldn't even talk to each other. They led Sarah to the plane and had her on the plane for like 5 minutes before they would even let me get out of the car. They wouldn't give me my passport back until the plane had already taken off because they were like so afraid of, I don't know, they're afraid. They're afraid of people knowing the truth. And they're afraid of people who have any amount of courage to stand up against them and to stand up for the rights and the dignity of Palestinians. And so they kept us completely cut off from each other and from all of you and all the work that was being done. Because I can tell you, if I would have had any idea that there was any chance of getting a lawyer, I would have refused to get on the plane for 3-4 days in a row, if that's what it would take. Because, you know, we went there to go to visit Palestinians, and as nice as it is to be back and to not be in jail and to have all this support, I wish we were there. But that's what we went to do. And I'm sorry, I talked for a really long time, but it's hard to know what to say and what not to say. You kind of want to just tell it all. But
Second request for
thank you very much, everyone. We have 2 last